Hello, folks. I'm meteorologist Tom Kavicka with you on a Saturday already here for today. Notice the weather changes. We saw more sun earlier. Clouds are overspreading the sky here in Alexandria. Our tower cams, Sinlaw Broadcasting on Texas Street, showing clouds about 4,000 or 5,000 feet above the surface. So the moisture tap that we need to bring more rain, and yes, it's in the forecast, is occurring in advance of the next weather maker in our forecast. Likewise, we go over to Gina. You see some filtered sunshine there as the clouds continue over in that direction. And again, it's widespread. You go out to the opposite end of Sinlaw to the west in Leesville. We see some broken cloudiness in that direction. Once again, about 4,000 or 5,000 feet above the surface. And so that's the first thing you need. Rain, to make rain, will be the clouds. But there's nothing out there right now, and nothing's expected for tonight, and not much for Sunday. I think the main event continues to be Monday. We have to look far and wide. We don't see anything on radar, even showing up despite the little moisture tap. Because the atmosphere below that still not set up for rainfall, except for that just that very shallow moisture layer. Right, we do see energy off to the west. You see that working. You see a little pump up here across Texas. That's the first thing we saw were the high cloudiness. Now we're seeing a little bit lower clouds, as I said, coming through the area. Front staying off to the west of us at this particular time, but the energy will arrive and will continue to change the weather this weekend. So futurecast for back to church in the morning, not any problems expected, just some clouds for that particular time frame. Once again, we get into the rest of the day, some hit and miss showers, not out of the question, especially across the western parishes. I've got a chance up for everyone. I'll have a specific graphic in just a minute. Let's go into Monday morning where it's back to work and school. Not seeing too much just yet, maybe a stray shower or two, but the chance and the coverage and the intensity will increase throughout the day. There's Monday going into the late afternoon and the early evening. Rainfall pattern for Sunday, the best shot I think is going to be across our western parishes. I got an area 30% outline from Natchitoches through Many, Leesville, and DeRidder. You head eastbound with less moisture pattern not quite set up for the rain just yet. We'll lower it to about 20 and then 10%, basically from about Alexandria, Pineville eastward and southward to Opelousas and northward to Gina, Jonesville, and Vidalia. The timing will be AM and PM for these rain chances. So it's one of those situations. There could be a stray shower Sunday morning, a little better shot of it in the evening though. Amounts less than an inch, so thankfully it won't be anything ridiculous for us. We can handle that. But flood alerts do remain here in Sinlaw. Still a flood warning, flash flood, river flood warning for the Calcasieu there in southwest Rapides and the Glenmore area. And more rain's on the way. Again, with our next weather system, what you're seeing today, the increase in clouds that I showed you on the tower cams, that is the first indication that we got the moisture return. That sets us up for a little flash flood risk on Monday. Not expecting anything terrible there. Right now, I think maybe 2 inches in some rain buckets across the area. But again, the soil has very little tolerance for rainfall, despite a couple of dry days for us. But we also look for a little marginal risk of severe weather on Monday. There's nothing widespread or anything like that happening. These marginal risks are put out there just to say, hey, there could be a rogue severe storm or two. There could be a couple of warnings issued, something like that, unless it overachieves. But that's what we're expecting right now, is something pretty low key. Satellite imagery into the Gulf of Honduras. We're seeing the center of Tropical Storm Sarah still there, working through the area. Just still kind of a disorganized mass of clouds, but you can see this training of the clouds right parallel to the coast right in there. And there's been some disastrous rain already occurring there, and more is on the way. I'm afraid some of the locations there in Central America are going to get 30 plus inches. So Tropical Storm Sarah remains down again in the Gulf of Honduras. It'll be tracking across the land here in the next couple of days. The National Hurricane Center is weakening it. So we don't see any extension into the Gulf of Mexico. But by the way, a 45-mile-per-hour sustained wind with the tropical storm. But what's going to happen is there could be a remnant low come into the Gulf of Mexico there. But for the most part, I think the most important thing is going to be kind of a hunk of moisture that will be drawn up into the eastern northern portions of the Gulf, like these models are indicating. So you can say, well, okay, this might be a remnant low, but it's not going to be a tropical storm or hurricane or anything like that. But that moisture will feed some maybe some excessive rainfall or locally heavy rainfall areas mainly to the east of us. I think we're a little too far to the west to get moisture out of this one. We got it for Raphael, and which was about right in this position, and that moisture came right on up into Cenla. So some areas here in South Louisiana got flooding rainfalls out of that, but I don't think that same thing's going to happen here. And this situation is going to the east of us. 7 days in, back to your forecast. We have 20% worth in for an average on Sunday. I outline that parish by parish. Kind of a warm day, a little bit breezy, and Monday, a little severe weather risk. I put that out as well. Main thing, again, could be some strong wind in some of these thunderstorms. It'll be a warm day with that southerly breeze driving temperatures into the lower 80s. Very warm that morning with middle 60s. Remember, we should be in the 40s typically this time of year, so way above normal. I'll keep about 30% going into Tuesday morning with the first front coming through across the area. That will settle things down, kind of clear it out with dry air. Then kind of a reinforcing front arrives on Wednesday. That's the one with the coolest air. And notice temperature drop after Tuesday with that particular front. We got 3 chilly mornings in store for us Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, where we'll see a mixture of probably at least some upper 30s, if not some mid 30s, and some, I'd say mid 30s to mid 40s, and I'll be safe in my forecast there with that range, with the numbers you see there. And maybe 4 days in a row where we don't get out of the 60s for highs, except maybe Saturday. We'll see some lower 70s that day. And it's a dry spell. We need to dry out after the rain we'll get this coming week. And so we'll be able to do that as well. That's it. Take care. Nick Mitchell will see you tomorrow with his update. I'll be around in the Forecast Center. Take care.